What are you doing, Dave?
In this video, we build and paint a Chaos Reaver Titan in less than a day. No.
It's tabletop time.
I'm Jen.
I'm Murray.
And I'm Dave.
And this video is sponsored by Hero Forge, but a little bit more about them later in the video.
And this is the part in the project where it might all just fall apart.
It's Wednesday, my dudes, and Arc is in 3 days. And the postal has just arrived. First of all, thank goodness it has, because if it didn't, we'll not have enough Titans. I'm very glad that we had the Warhound as a backup, because there is no way that we are going to be able to build more than one. And even one is a push. Chaos Reaver Titans. Oh my goodness. The boxes just fall apart apparently. This sticky stuff is not enough to contain the power that Forge world. But here's what everyone wants. Excommunicate traitores. Well, Reaver number 3175. I hope you enjoy your life as part of a gaming board. Now we really have to build this. We got like 2 days.
And wash it.
That sounds like a Jen job.
So we were down to the wire and everything was going fine.
All right, we had the whole team there to go on.
Yeah, the whole team consisting of Dave and Jen. Because, of course, Murray wasn't working that day, so it was getting tense.
Yes, that means we basically have a day to build this guy and then another day to maybe paint him and put him all together.
I don't know how we're going to do this. This is kind of daunting, and I've got to be honest, this is the first time in the project where I had those little pangs of, oh god, I just kind of want to give up. But I can't, because we have a deadline. We have 200 people expecting to see this, and we're just gonna have to push through.
Yeah, working on this project, I don't think I've ever felt sort of fear, trepidation, and enthusiasm for the crazy stuff we've done.
Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you might have heard about the amazing character creator called Hero Forge. Hero Forge is an online website that allows you to custom make the perfect character to fit your needs, and then purchase this character to be shipped to you in physical form or as an STL download.
We've used Hero Forge a couple times before in our roleplay setting, and it is absolutely amazing to be able to create our own characters to our specific needs, all online, super easy.
Every month, Hero Forge gets better and better with new items released and added to the server. Today, and for this board, I decided to make a Princeps of the Titan Legio Mortis, a slightly eviler take on the very proud and noble Titan pilots. This one in particular used some of the brand new parts I'd never seen before, and I have to say this new knight outfit is gorgeous.
I think that's a little creature you've got there. Is that a familiar?
That's one of the brand new familiars. This is a feature that's been added by Hero Forge late last year. This allows you to have customizable, posable familiars on the bases of your models.
This also includes awesome looking mounts, and you can make some really impressive stuff with these guys.
I just love that they had this cute little robot that is super at home on the sands of Mars for the Mechanicus.
Hero Forge also allows you to color your models straight online and even order them printed in color, which is pretty cool. You can even put decals on your models, and with the new Pro feature, this allows you to warp, shift, and change them however you wish.
That's right, completely customize your mini with the decal system. There's so much on offer, including Pro subscriptions, which give you access to early features and beta items, as well as Pro Plus, which gives you monthly mini packs. And we have a code. That's right, we know how much you love STL, so for 10% off STL downloads, use the code TABLETOPTIME. Links are in the description. Truly, I use this all the time. We love Hero Forge. They're so good for making like NPCs for things, for dioramas, for making characters for role-playing games. The uses are endless. I mean, we currently use Hero Forge minis in our Tabletop Time roleplay campaign. So check them out. Seriously, it's a lot of fun, even if you just want to make some minis on there. Yeah, give them some love. Click the link in the description. Thank you to Hero Forge for sponsoring this video.
Okay, so I'm pretty much done washing the parts for this Chaos Reaver, and it took me probably about a good 2 hours to do so, but it's pretty much done, which is great. So we can move on to the next part of the project, working on the board where the Reaver's going to be slumped. I'm so happy not to have to wash these again. I also wanted to mention a lovely tub of resin that we have. All of that is all of the gates that were on pretty much all of the Titans except for the Warhound that we got from Forge World. So that is a lot of resin. If you guys have any suggestions on what we should do, please let us know. It's time to move on to finishing up the Chaos Reaver. Yay!
For that, I'll drink half of it. Did you get medium coffees? I'm so sorry that I went out on a coffee run and I brought you a coffee. Would you like your coffee small next time, Jen?
Yes.
I needed this coffee. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So one of the great positives of this project has been almost a lifelong joy of building Titans. I've always seen them. I've never really built one. And over the last 2 weeks, I've managed to build not only a Warhound, but a Reaver and a Warlord as well. I feel truly lucky. But this time it was Jen's turn to do the majority of the build.
At least since I knew I wasn't going to be there, I built the toes and legs for you.
You make this look absolutely flawless, and I can say without a doubt, I hate these Forge World Titan kits. I think that they're really hard to work with, and when you're on a time limit and you don't have much to work with, it's really, really frustrating. The one thing I do want to add that I actually do think is kind of a poor design choice when it comes to these Forge World kits is you can accidentally cut off bits of the actual pieces without realizing it, and I did this plenty of times.
Well, I'm glad that you think that I made it look effortless, because those pistons suck.
So I will say I've come to learn about myself. I actually really enjoy the advanced model process of building a Forge World model. No question about the value, and there's a lot of arguments about the price and the quality you get for that price. I'm not contesting any of that. What I am saying is I found that the actual building part of these more complex kits that do require multiple parts, careful thought, time-consuming filing and preparation, the perfect alignment of bits and heat molding resin, I find it really enjoyable. All of those delicate, precise, time-consuming things that we had no time for.
Yeah, it's really a craftsman's joy, and then we just hit it with a heat gun and tear it in half.
The other thing I didn't quite understand with this particular Forge World kit was the instructions were very basic. They didn't go into much detail of how to actually build this guy. So I made a few mistakes on gluing some pieces together, and then I had to pretty much dunk the entire thing in boiling hot water and try to mush it all together, which sounds horrible in hindsight, but I really didn't have much of a choice.
There's certainly an order required to build these Reaver Titans easily in the order in which you place the parts and heat bend them. By the time you get to your second or third Reaver Titan, as most people will, you generally pick those things up. Oh wait, no one builds these except for the 3,000 in the history of the Titan that have been purchased.
Yeah, can confirm that. That's what it says on the little clarification sheet that you get posted.
But despite the building process, at the end of the day, holding this thing in my hands and actually looking at the detailed work, it's pretty epic. I'm actually kind of psyched.
Now, my final commentary on the building of the Chaos Reaver kit before we move on, and you can see there that Jen has glued on the top mount for the gun completely the wrong way, and we can't fix that. I really feel that this Chaos Reaver kit is actually just superior to the Reaver kit. I have one complaint about the fittings where you can clearly see the plasticard where they had made this conversion. They didn't bother to gap fill it, which I think is a little bit of a shame. I think overall the silhouette of the Reaver just looks better in Chaos.
Yeah, the big spikes and teeth just jutting forwards of the front of the carapace towards the head is such a cool silhouette.
And there's where I commit my treachery.
Here it is. Yep, glued in and sideways. That ain't coming out. We tried, did try. I don't know how you thought that was... She'll be right. I'll just settle it on perpendicular to the mount. She'll be right, says Jen.
What are we doing, Dave?
Floor planning.
Yay!
This has been a big part of this project. It's not the best lit place in the studio, but it's where the board fits. So we've been sort of brainstorming, and we're up to the last corner of the board.
Boom!
Thanks for your input. So thankfully at this stage we have the Chord Reaver as sort of a scale. So we can see that this is where we're going to put the destroyed Chaos Reaver. And if we were to slump it into the corner of this rock, I just think it's just eating up a whole chunk of the battlefield. You can't really deploy units here. You can't really play around it. It just looks good. I think even though it's going to be slumped and fallen over into like a pillar of rock, kind of needs to come almost as forward as it possibly can on this board. To about here. And that way we've got all this space here that we definitely want to trim this a lot because it looks pretty but it doesn't do anything for gameplay. Although if you want to do some you could do like a stepped bit halfway through in the middle, so like this section here could be like 2 tiers lower, so like here that could be make use of it, make it interesting terrain, which means we need to build like a pillar, like a mesa for the Reaver to be crashed into. Good luck.
So for part of this project, we talked about making some maces that the Chaos Reaver would be slumped against. The first thing I did was get these offcuts of foam and start gluing them together with a skewer in the middle to secure them nicely.
You're basically making like a big meat kebab and then just sort of cutting it down until it looks more like rock than bits of polystyrene.
Yeah, pretty much. Just don't eat it.
So, Murray and Jen have been assembling this Reaver, and I find it kind of amusing that it can stand up. Beautiful, graceful, balanced stance there on one toe.
Yeah, everything's a mess right now. We're in full chaos mode. What we're going to do is we're going to go and foam cut all of the board, the mesa, all the areas we were looking at basically incorporating this into, and dry fit and cut around the reaver, understand and establish its pose, and then we can take the reaver off, spray it, and sculpt and mold the terrain.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Very enthusiasm, much wow.
Play space is really important, but also sort of designer's intent about where models should be able to be placed. We didn't want to give a massive advantage to one deployment zone, so it was important to minimize the amount of floor space this was taking up that was advantageous, while still allowing a couple of vantage points for maybe a squad or two to hide up here. So with the we basically made in 2 bits of elevation to make this a little bit different from the remains of the Magma City.
This was actually the last piece of the entire board that we had to foam cut, so it was really cathartic and nice to be able to finally finish this part of the project.
But the main thing here was getting the mesa to the right size, and originally we'd come up with the concept of having 2 mesas and the reaver would be grabbing onto one with its claw. But as we got late into the Wednesday, it became very apparent we wouldn't have time for this, but also it would take up way too much space on the board. Going with a single mesa that the reaver is collapsed into.
Sort of like an old western. He's been shot and he's slumped dramatically against the wall.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool kills in the book Mechanicum, and they're all a bit different. Perhaps he was one of the reavers that suffered from the catastrophic void overload, which basically causes the synapses of the princeps and moderatis to explode in sympathy with the void shields of their titans.
Also, I cannot understate just how cool it is to be creating all these destroyed titans while listening to the audiobook of the battle. We had a lot of grins on our faces that day.
With test fit after test fit, I eventually came up with a pose that I was pretty happy with and settled on this. Reaver collapsed into the mesa with a couple of bits of rock tumbled on top of it.
Something that we had discussed previously was the fact that when people usually build their titans, they build them in a really static pose. So this was the first time we get really creative with the poses, and I actually adore the way that this one is sitting. I think it's really cool and really unique.
It's 4 p.m. Thursday. Murray spent last night gluing together the reaver, and the legs have just fallen apart. Looking at the claw, the fist, the gun, it's all unassembled. And I'm just like extremely, this is Murray. This is literally Murray texting me right now about the disaster. And I'm actually like, I do not know how we're going to get this finished. This is resin. There is no paint on this. Now unglued resin, and I have to now reassemble it before I can even paint it. And if we're gonna get anything finished tomorrow, all the wet work needs to be done today, which means it needs to be like on the board with the sculptor mold on, with the sand glued with PVA. It's 4 p.m. on Thursday, so I'm panicking a little bit, I'm gonna be honest. If only our postage had rocked up a little bit sooner than 3 days before the event.
It's almost end of day. I'm currently trying to blue tack all of these parts on so we can spray them. I've stolen every stick of blue tack that we have in the office just to try and get this all down. I'm a little bit stressed. Dave's a little bit stressed. Murray isn't here. He's stressed. We've got a lot of work to do and we don't have much time, and we just got to power through. We can do it. Hopefully it'll be really good.
You're optimistic. It's all gone to shit.
No, we can do it.
We're
We'll just go home then.
We're completely f***ed. On the floor, like a gremlin, gluing together reaver feet. And anyway, sometimes when I go to sleep, crying helps me sleep. Tonight will be one of those nights. Forgive me, Reaver, for what I am about to do. This is a chisel. This is a reaver. Oh, Jazz is here. Right in time.
What did you do? Wait, what? No, we did.
Sorry, what?
That was the wrong reaver. No, I'm just...
It actually didn't do anything that I wanted it to do, and it just broke in the wrong spot, so that was great. That's good. Chisels aren't exactly the most precise instrument. Like, you sort of think about breaking a piece of Forge World resin this big, it's not exactly an easy prospect. Maybe I just like the nick.
Really cool.
Just leave the nick. Oh, we've detailed it. I've done it all like nicely on this side, and that side's facing away from the viewer.
Of all the things in this project that come close to heresy, sacrilege, or the defiling of an expensive model, this definitely felt like the number one. Because not only was it brutal and violent and destructive, it also lacked finesse. This was just a sheer monkey smack it thing.
But it's okay, because it was a Chaos Reaver. So all you loyalists can watch on enjoy.
I needed that. Some satisfying coverage.
Power of tight editing, we also managed to spray this model black and then silver, but decided to do the streaking grime steps when it was glued into the terrain.
Again, we're basically going to treat this one as terrain itself rather than its own freestanding model.
So I got given the task of building what would be essentially his hands. Well, one of them was a hand, the other was a laser gun, I believe.
Ah, the hand, a very simple thing to build. I'm sure you loved it.
Oh my goodness. This had so many parts to it, but it was very, very cool. It took me a couple of minutes to actually sort through all the pieces, and I unfortunately had clipped everything off the sprue, so I had to line everything up and kind of just eyeball match the best I could. The gun, on the other hand, was super easy to assemble and required very little.
Wait. You're saying that your gun wasn't warped?
No, it was actually kind of perfect, to be honest.
That's so rude.
With these steps done, it was up to me to begin the assembly of the final stages of this Titan, and I have to say, these are not intended to be built in these weird and wacky poses.
In hindsight, also would have been probably a good idea to put some of this sculpt down on the polystyrene before we covered it in a huge hulking Titan. We made it work. We have mastered the art of sticking sculpted around Titan legs now.
To actually secure the Titan to the terrain, I used the same techniques I used on the Warhound Titan, using a builder's liquid nails as the strong support while also putting a little bit of hot glue on there just to get some tack and keep it held in place.
Alright, Dave, what are you doing with the head?
So Jazza had walked past and said, it'd be cool if the head was sagging down. And I said, it doesn't really work like that. It mounts on a little ball joint. And he said, be cool if the head hung down, and then left. And unfortunately, he was so right. Something we do at the studio is we often kind of wander in, check in, see what each other's creating, and sometimes, especially when help is asked for, suggest some ways to make the project even cooler. Despite the time pressure, Jazz's suggestion resonated with me to such an extent that I actually decided I needed to take the time to do this. We had a whole bunch of extra cables for the Titan, for the arms, the hips. None of these would be used in this broken build. So with a whole bunch of two-part epoxy and desperation, I clotted up that neck joint with a bunch of glue, managed to get it secured in place, and then hid that whole joint behind a bunch of these gorgeous cables, ultimately giving the look that this head has sagged out of its mount on these massive, strong, high tensile cables.
Yeah, it was quite concerning when I walked into the room and he said, Murray, don't hate me, but this was definitely worth it.
I believe Brickman would call this good parts usage.
There's a reference to Lego Masters, an Australian TV show. Hey Jen.
Hey.
It is only 8:30 on Thursday night. You know, it's fine.
That's early.
And here's the Cord Reaver, boys.
It's very cool.
And obviously it's just me and you in the studio. No one else is here. You're going to do the weathering stuff.
Yes, I am. I've done it before, so I am not too stressed, but we do need to get this done ASAP. So let's go.
Weathering time! Woo! And just so you all know, it ain't just for show. It's night time. The nighttime madness can commence. That's right, this was definitely outside of business hours, but the time had come to begin to apply some of that chipping medium. Liberally covered all of the armored panels, and in a deranged, sleep-deprived state, got to apply it before starting to airbrush on the red, as you can see at the bottom of the frame here. But, that area will just not be chipped, as I rapidly proceeded from there to remember the chipping medium and to then airbrush over the top.
I think that's the beauty of doing a sort of destroyed Titan, is we can make mistakes and they just turn into happy accidents.
With the streaking grime applied, I got out my woolly dauber and basically just did what we always do. Use white spirits to pull off a bunch of that streaking grime. I used the same colors I'd used on the other Legio Mortis Titans, which was a gory red and a sanguine red, or a blood red, I believe it's called, on top, and heavy charcoal for the gray areas of the model. With my spicy heraldic diamond pattern airbrushed in at the cost of some of my sanity, I let loose the pressure of that sanity by drawing some lovely, relaxing chaos runes. The way they dance across your eyes and the whispers of the dark gods in the back of your mind when you look at them is a real calm and comforting way to really recenter yourself when working on a project like this.
Debbie, you feeling alright?
Before noting that some of the areas had had an awesome cracking effect on them. I think this was because I'd sprayed on and perhaps the cracking medium or the chipping medium hadn't quite fully dried yet, but it basically left this awesome cracked look across its surface, and I just decided to keep these for some of those panels. Now, as for whether I'm alright, guys, I've never been better. I mean, just look at the way I'm taking my time to draw these runes, spiraling into a circle, down, closer and closer, tighter and tighter together towards the answers that all of us crave at the center of the universe, the center of human consciousness, experience, the Empyrean, and the Eye of Terror. And you will see, everyone, it's all starting to make a whole lot of sense.
It's the best handwriting I've seen you do.
That's all you have to say?
It is past midnight on the Thursday. Tomorrow is our last day, and we're getting close to wrapping things up for the day. The reaver is looking decent. Got a lot more to do.
You said day.
Oh yeah, well I'm saying Friday. We're getting close to wrapping things up for Friday. We've got like a whole day to come. But I can't stop myself. I have a problem, and I really like this model. Every sensible bone in my body, and Murray, I can see, and Jen are getting tenser and tenser the more that I speak. Every sensible bone in my body says, it's alright Dave, just stipple on the gold and call it done. But this is a Titan. And Titans have cool heraldic patterns on them, don't they? Hello, Murray.
I don't know. I actually don't know. Do they, Dave?
They're about to.
All right, team, it's time to take it home. It's what, Friday? Thursday night or Friday?
I think it's Thursday.
That was Thursday.
Can't
Yeah.
even remember.
No, this was Thursday applying this, so it was dried overnight so we could work on it more Friday.
All right, and what did we do?
We sculpted the same method we'd done previous copious amounts of time, but this would be the last time we would have to do this. But oh boy, did it look satisfying having all of the boards lined up and finally looking red.
This was grey resin this morning. This Titan was grey resin this morning.
Oh my god! It's a tabletop time cryptid.
Sorry, was I speaking in tongues again?
No, you were fine. You're alright.
Oh, cool. I won't go get checked out by an Inquisitor. Anyway, so I've been staring at runes for a while. I've forgotten which day of the week it is, but I do know that this is the last mad dash.
Yeah, this was Friday, so the day before these boards needed to go to Arc, and we had a bit of work to do.
Genuinely, the whole last 2 days of this project is kind of a delirious haze for me. I think we worked until 2 a.m. both days, basically didn't sleep. It was wild.
The studio was covered in red pigment, and we apologized for anyone who had to deal with that the next day.
We got a little bit delirious, and a lot of content got cut by our lovely editor, Liam.
Mine was very tired.
Because it was weird. It was weird. I think we were all getting a bit weird. So, we're burning that footage.
Nice dry board you've got there.
Yes, it is.
Shame if something would have happened to it. Damn it!
Your powers cannot defeat me.
Well, I guess it is hydrophobic. Nothing says last minute like hair drying the board.
Try, damn you.
And now it's time to look at our board.
Woohoo! Yay!
Hell yeah, and you know who else I want to look at? That patron scroll with all those awesome patrons.
Thank you to all of our patrons, and if you'd like to consider joining, all the links are down in the description below.
Please join.
It is thanks to you that we're able to do this. This is the final segment of the entire board before we put it all together. So we hope that you will join us for our last stretch.
And make sure you smash that like button. It's the best way for YouTube to know you're enjoying this content. Check out the playlist with all of the Titan board videos and follow us along this whole delirious journey.
You're still delirious.
I am still delirious.
Maybe you do need to get checked out by that Inquisitor.
Yay! We're back from Arc, and it didn't all fall apart, did it?
No, hooray.
And this is all that remains of the Chaos Reaver Titan, just the certificate of
Yeah,
authenticity.
I guess this is what we keep.
And keep it well too, we're good custodians. Thank you everyone for watching our video. Please press like, please share, and please have a good day.
You've got to subscribe. Subscribe's part
Oh, subscribe.
of it. Have a good day.
Doesn't really do anything, it's mostly the likes.
We also like our patrons as well. If you'd like to join our Patreon, all the links are in our description down below.
And you know who else we like? Hero Forge. Thank you to Hero Forge for sponsoring this video. And if you'd like to make some really cool Hero Forge creations, make sure to check out the link in the description and show us what you come up with at us on Twitter.
I find time to go down and play on this board.
Yeah, we gotta go to House of War.